In this video, we're looking at problem 9.8, and I just want to make sure you guys understand that my goal here is for you all to learn this and understand what's going on in terms of how these variables, the relationships between the variables, and what the overarching concepts are. So I'm not really concerned that you can just get the answers. So in many of these, I'm going to actually show you the answers. So those of you that take the time to watch the videos will have an easy time with your homework. But I hope that you really pay close attention to why these answers are the way they are and what it means in terms of decisions that you would make as a financial manager for a firm. So let's just look at this and see what we're doing here. We're comparing the after-tax cost of debt for a company to the cost of preferred stock. So Frank, who's the treasurer, thinks that the debt is a cheaper option for acquiring funds compared to issuing new preferred stock. Now, one thing to always keep in mind, the return on preferred stock, or actually the return on any equity, always needs to be higher than the return on debt financing, because you're guaranteed your return when you buy bonds. You're not necessarily guaranteed a return when you invest in stock. So you're always going to want to have a better return potential with equity stock than you would be with debt in the form of typically in the form of bonds. Okay, so let's look at this and say, plug in these numbers. So we see that the before tax cost of debt is 11%, so we can put that in right here. And the marginal tax rate is 40%, so we can put that in right here. You see what I'm doing. And we get an after-tax cost of debt of 6.6%. Okay, now let's calculate or compute our cost of preferred stock. So the expected dividend per share is $8. So we'll put that in right here. And our current price per share is $61. So we'll put that in right in this box. And our flotation cost per share is $1 per share. So we'll put that right there. And we can see that our cost of preferred stock is much higher than, so the return on the preferred stock is much more than the return on the after-tax cost of debt. So is Frank correct in his analysis? Yes. So he's going to most likely advise his company to if they have to choose between financing through debt or financing through the issue of preferred stock, they're going to want to do it through debt. Now, just to see how these numbers work, and so you can sort of see what is causing these numbers to be what they are, I'm asking you to look at what variables would need to increase or decrease, and by how much, in order for the cost of preferred stock to be equal to the cost of debt. So what will we need to do with our preferred stock numbers in order for them to come, in order for the cost to come down to the same cost as the cost of debt. So really, all you need to do here is just do a little bit of experimenting, and we can see that if we take the expected dividend and we say, you know what, we're going to give a lower dividend, so let's drop it to 6. That's going to make our cost of preferred stock go down, because we're not going to give the same dividend, which means it's going to cost the company less money. So we can just continue to drop this until we get to a point to where it's equal. That's really close. So let me just look over here to see what it actually is, because I played around with this earlier. If we drop it down to 405, okay, so if we go down to exactly 405, 405, whoops, 05, wow, having a hard time here. 05, there we go. Then we can see that that's going to get, well, no, that's going to be a little bit off. Oh, by 405 to 395. I see. Okay, so we want to drop it down just a little bit below 4, and that's going to give it to us. Yeah, that makes sense. 3, and you can just play around with this. It's kind of fun actually. So then you play around with it, and then you can get it right exactly where you want it to be. So that's how you find it. Now, if you guys were paying close attention and wanted to stop your video, you would have seen, I think, what you would need else you would needed to, what else you could have changed in terms of the current price per share. If you went back and put this where it was, put your expected dividend back to its original, which was 8. You can also play around with your price per share. Now, in order for that, if you think about this, in order to bring the cost of preferred stock down, then that would mean that the overall, and we look at the formula right here. I mean, you can also just look at the formula. In order for KP to come down, then the denominator is going to need to come up, right? So what's in the denominator? Well, the current price of the preferred stock minus the flotation cost. So if the current price of the preferred stock in the denominator were to go up, that's going to bring this overall expression, or the cost of preferred stock, down. And we can see that if we just come over here and just type in something higher. Let's just go up to 80, and you can see that that's going to bring the cost down. So you may have seen it when I popped over to the answers, but if not, it shouldn't take you very long to figure out exactly how much you'd have to raise the price of the stock, or how much the price of the stock would need to go up in the market, actually, in order for your cost of preferred stock to be equal to the after-tax cost of debt. And the reason I'm asking you to do this is just so you can sort of get, in your head a general idea of how these variables how changing the variables in the formula change the cost of either preferred stock or the after-tax cost of debt. And especially, it is important to understand that in a mathematical expression that looks like a ratio or a fraction, when the denominator goes up or increases, then the value of the overall expression is going to go down or decrease. Now, the other thing is, if we have a higher flotation cost right here, that's going to bring this bottom denominator down, because you're going to be subtracting more from the denominator. So if we were actually to raise the flotation cost to say 4, you'll see that actually makes the overall cost go up, because you're if you think about this, you're making the denominator down here, you're actually making it smaller, because the larger you take from, the larger you subtract, the larger the amount that you should subtract from the current price, then that's going to make this a denominator down here smaller. Okay, so I just wanted you guys to sort of see how these formulas, or how the variables in the formulas impact or affect your cost. All right, that's 9/8.